Last episode, we actually finished Dale Valley Farms with the addition of a windmill to process farmed goods, a mushroom farm, and a brand new delivery vehicle. And we all know what that means. It's finally time to build a small airport, and I'm so excited. I've been looking forward to this. It's what this whole area has been about, really, just getting an airport down. But you can't have an airport without a reason for needing it, so, well, now we need it. Something I'm less excited about, however, is all the terraforming we need to do, because I want to put the airport over here, and at the moment, as you can see, there's a bunch of hillocks. It's not really particularly flat, and to be honest, it's actually at a completely different level to this area anyway. So let's bust out a shovel and our giant drill and get to work, I guess. Oh no, what have I done? Fairly reasonable amount of time later, we now have an absolutely massive area cleared out, and that should be plenty of space for an airport. And I've even sorted out the cliff on this side by the windmill, just because I figured that needed to look a little bit better too. And when looking at this space and picturing an airport, I'm seeing a diagonal one that maybe sort of goes across here somewhere. So I guess that means I'm going to make life difficult for myself. But the next step here is going to involve this shovel, and I should probably actually heal it up a little bit, which we can do right here. Let's get marking some stuff out. So I've been drawing lines all over the place, and I think I've got a plan. We're going to have the runway going down this back bit here. Then this is going to be the kind of plain outdoor turdy circly area type thing. We'll have a great big hangar over here. And because it's just a small country airport, we're not going to have a proper air control tower or anything like that. I don't think this airport's going to warrant that. But then I've also marked out the entrance road, which should loop back round and then go onto the main high street road, which is going to be along there. That's the kind of bigger, thicker road, I guess. But before we can actually start proper development on this area, I need to do some paving, I guess. I still haven't made a decision on the runway yet. Should it be a dirt runway? Should it be a stone runway? I don't really know. But I know we definitely want to pave these areas where we're going to have the hangar and so on. And we definitely want to get the road paved in as well. So back to watching stuff in the background while I terraform, I guess. Well, I'm pleased to say progress is being made, slowly but surely. So I've filled in the road over on this side just with the basic stone for now. We've still got lots of texturing to do, and I think I also want to connect this road up to here, because then we have sort of a block in the middle where we can put some buildings for the town, and it also means we can get our bus route running again, because that bus has been out of service for weeks. Classic British bus service. But more importantly, I've actually decided I'm going to use a dirt airfield over on this side, and it's sort of, well, the whole thing is going to be dirt, really. Just imagine that these farmers were like, hey, you know, we want to transport our goods, and they kind of made their own little private airfield. That's pretty much the kind of style that this is going to be, but we are still going to have a nice big hangar, of course. And currently I still haven't decided what sort of plane we're going to build here, because a bit of an issue I've got is they can't actually land at the other side. And if we were to build an airport over there, it would have to be absolutely massive, because it's a very big and very busy area, and I'm not sure I want to do that. So with that in mind, the plane style is still up in the air, which does make making the hangar a little bit more difficult, but there's no reason why it can't be a bigger hangar that has a couple of smaller planes in it as well. I mean, imagine, you know, that you've got your farmland and your rural sort of private airfield. There's probably going to be a couple of Cessnas and a crop duster floating around, so we'll maybe figure out some designs for those and just have those as sort of stationary planes around here. But anyway, enough waffle. As you can see, we've got a massive runway here. It still needs some detail work, of course. I've just made a start on the sides just to rough it up a little bit. But as it's not a busy airport, I do want to leave it sort of fairly poorly maintained. I mean, it's out in the middle of nowhere. It's not like you're going to be having planes coming in every 5 minutes. If anything, it's probably going to be one every couple of days. But we'll work out the rest of that later. For now, I think I do want to focus on this hangar, because that's going to be the focal point of this area. It's going to be the building, pretty much the only building in this side. So I guess I better go grab myself some stuff and try working out a hangar here. So I'm going to start off just marking an area out with these tough pillar blocks. I think a corrugated metal kind of thing over here is going to work best. And these blocks are just perfect for that. And I think it's probably going to make sense to have this split into sort of 2 hangars, at least from the roof perspective. It will probably just be one big space space inside, however. So with that in mind, I think we're actually going to put a divider in the front here as well, which we may keep. We may need to remove it. I don't think our plane's going to end up that big. It should fit in there fine. If not, then we're definitely going to have problems at the other end. But I think for doorways, that sort of size should work quite nicely. So we've got that 6 high, and then I think what I'm going to do is put in a row of the industrial iron here. Something like that. And then I wonder, maybe we can make use of some girders here? Something like that, maybe? Now we need to figure out what I want to do for the roof. And I do quite like the idea of having sort of arched roofs, of course, because, well, they're mostly like that really at airfields. But also, I do like the idea of getting some glass in. So maybe this sort of front arch shape here should be made out of some form of glass. And I think using a combination of the light grey, the white, and the brown should work quite nicely. But let's just get all the white in first. Oh, in fact, we're using light grey, grey, and brown. There's no white here. Looking good. Let's get a roof on before we do any texturing. And I think for this one, we're just going to go with a nice Viridium roof. Well, I think the roof's going to work well, but I made a slight error in judgment in that I don't actually have enough Viridium. And it's not the easiest thing to get hold of. But I'm sure if we go down into the mines with our drill, we should be able to find some. Let's check out the andesite level first. Well, I don't see any exposed patches. Oh, there's some scoria. What's that? Just seems to be scoria. Sadly, nothing else. Well, let's go try another level of the mine. Oh, hello. There's some over here. In fact, this looks like where we got it from before. Well, let's just grab all these scraps that we left behind. Mission success. We got the roof in. We do, of course, need to texture that as well as everything. Well, in fact, everything needs detail, doesn't it? The size and shape for the hangars, I think that works well. So now to make it look a bit better. The first thing I think it needs is some supports up here. Maybe one in the middle. Ow! Oh, geez. Yeah, I haven't got any torches down over this side yet. So we'll just stick one of these down in the middle for now. And we'll add that to the list of things to sort later. Right, the girders are good. They work. Now we need to sort out these doorways. I think they need to be maybe a little bit narrower. Maybe just one block on each side. I think 2 on each side makes them a little bit too narrow, maybe. So let's trim this one back down again. All right, so doors. What are we going to do about doors? So I think I'm going to start off with what does a closed door look like? And we're going to use maybe limestone. Maybe we'll put in some windows at the top here on each part of the door. So maybe something as simple as that, although I'm not sure on these middle bits. Let me change those out. And maybe just put in some polished diorite or something. Although we don't want them really to be solid blocks, that's the issue. Then I guess that's going to happen no matter what block we use. So maybe we need something that already has some kind of a vertical divide in it. Aha, vertical cut diorite. Maybe that's the one. Yeah, there we go. I think I want that on this side as well. Although now I'm thinking about it, logistically, this isn't really going to work. I mean, when those doors open, where do they go? Are they like little fold-up doors, maybe? Or do we need to make doors that actually go up instead of open this way? Okay, I think I much prefer the vertical doors. That definitely works. We'll just imagine it's one of those ones that kind of like folds up. You know, the plasticky ones. But that should work nicely, and we may need to raise this up by a block. I don't really know yet. It kind of depends how it looks once we've got the plane built. But then I suppose the cargo plane isn't going to be going in and out of the hangar. This is pretty much just for the smaller planes, so I don't know, we'll work it out. Or we'll ignore it, one of the two. Now, I've got a bunch of texturing to do, so I think that's going to be my next step, see if we can get this looking a bit nicer. And I need to get the girders on the back, because we forgot to put them here. They're only on the front currently. The girders are in, now it's time to figure out some texture. And I think it should be fairly easy for this sort of metal side of things, because what we want to do is just sort of replace certain parts of it with panels to make it look like it's been panelled up, although that's very subtle, isn't it? I mean, the andesite's a bit brighter, that works better, but what I want to do is just get a bunch of these sort of square patches in numerous places. And every now and then, I think I'm going to mix in a little bit of the smooth tuff as well. Let's see how that's looking from a distance. So I do quite like the big squares because it makes it look like it's been patched up, but I think it also needs a little bit more. So maybe I should blend in this a little bit, just with sort of another square. And then with this one, we can maybe mix in a little bit of stone at the top there. All right, I think that's going to work. Now, the trick here is going to be to not overdo it. So we just want a few patches here and there, I think. Well, that's working well, but I think what I want to do is sort out the floor around here a little bit too, sort of integrate the building into the landscape just a little bit more. And just a few bits of coarse dirt here and there should do the trick for the most parts. We'll have the occasional little bit of dirt path. Looking better already. We're going to mix in a little bit of moss here and there as well, just to break up the grass. Just a little something like that. And then what we're going to do is mix in some grass and some leaves. We're probably going to need a bit more grass than that, though. We just swap out our botanist's workbench at the top here. We can get some of these sort of dead leaves as well. And maybe some orange ones for good measure. So let's just get a few bits of bushiness in. And these dead ones alongside the orange ones just work so well together. Absolutely love it. Looking good, although it would be nice to maybe try and get a little bit of mossiness onto the wall. But I don't know how we're going to achieve that. Is the mossy cobblestone going to work? It might not. Let's maybe try doing a little patch here. No, it just doesn't look right with the sheet metal. Don't worry, I have another idea. And that idea involves lichen. We've only got 3. Okay. But no worries, we can put together a makeshift farm again. Although all this is going to have to wait because the wonderful Mrs. B has just brought me a bacon bagel. See you in a minute. Well, that bagel was incredible and well needed. Mrs. B is a legend. Anyway, what was I doing? Ah, yes, I need a dispenser because we need to get ourselves a bunch more glow lichen. And if we just do that, fill it up with bone meal, stick a few temporary blocks down, just like that. Stick the glow lichen to the front, then we can just stand here and harvest away. In fact, let's just put that in there so the bag picks it up. And I guess this is me for the next 10 minutes. That's better, loads of glow lichen. And we're going to take some vines as well. And what I'm hoping is, if we do a little bit of this, and then maybe some glow lichen too, we can actually break up the wall texture a little bit more, and hopefully make it look a little bit mossy and overgrown, I guess. What do we think? Yeah, I quite like that. It's subtle, but it works. Now let's sort out the glass. Well, I'm pretty pleased with that. That's come out well, and that's just the back of the build. We'll put some air conditioning units and other bits and details on a little bit later, but for now, I need to actually carry this on around the rest of the building. There we go. That's looking much better. All of the walls are done. We've even got some leaves around the side, but now I need to sort out the roof, and we're going to use a mixture of different viridium types so we can have some sort of slightly more tired and worn down bits of the roof like this. With the occasional cut viridium as well, just to make it look like a patch job's been done on the roof. And I do wonder if I can get away with mixing in some of these. They're quite bright, they're a little bit different to everything else that's going on. But I do want to have some bits of the roof that look like they've been just completely repaired with something different. Question is, does that work? Might be a bit much, but maybe I can soften it with some glow lichen. Tell you what, that actually works. I quite like that. Now I've just got to sort out the rest of the roof. Well, it looks like I need more viridium. I didn't dig up enough after all. Well, I did, but then I turned it all into cut viridium, and that's not what I want now. And there we go, that's the roof done. Just a few patches here and there, not too overdone, I don't think. And that means the last thing to do is just the floor in here, which should be fairly straightforward. I'm just going to mix in a little bit of stone and maybe some andesite. And in fact, maybe a little bit of tuff around the edges could look quite good as well. Maybe some gravel. But I don't want too much going on here, just a little something to sort of break up the edges, I think. And then we'll use the stone to add maybe just a few sort of smoother patches in the middle here. It's the interior of the hangar looking a whole lot better, and I don't think I can procrastinate anymore. I need to try and work out how to build planes. But instead of jumping straight in and doing our delivery plane, I think I want to do like a small Cessna or something that just lives in here first. Gives me a chance to get a bit of practice in. So, where to begin? Probably looking at a picture of a plane. So I've been looking at pictures of old school crop dusting planes, and they're generally kind of biplane type things. Like this. Here's James Bond running away from one. So I think that's the kind of thing we're going to try our best to build. This might go terribly. And I may need to change the front to allow a bit more space. But yeah, we'll figure that out in a moment. Let's go grab some bits and bobs first. So to start off with, we're going to need a couple of wheels, which, to be honest, I think I'm actually going to use grindstones for because they look better. That should do the trick. And then we're going to be making use of framed blocks, I would imagine. Probably quite a lot. So I'm going to start with just getting in a basic sort of body shape for the aeroplane. So we'll need a wheel at the back. We'll have a bit of space there, and then it'll be thinner. In fact, what I could do here potentially is grab some copycat panels and use these as a floor kind of bit for the plane, because then we can get the seat and the controls a little bit lower down. And then maybe we could have the wings coming directly off of that bit. While I'm here, I should probably decide what I'm actually going to be building this out of. Let's go grab a colourful block from storage. And maybe let's do a nice bright yellow plane. Don't know why I grabbed 4 stacks of that. I certainly don't need that much. So let's get a bit of colour on this. And the engine block will be somewhere around there, I guess. I wonder if I can get away with using bars for the wing connectors, or are they going to be a bit too thin? And for the top of the wings, do we want them to be a bit thicker, or do we need them to be the same as the bottom? And are they going to be too low? Because it would make more sense for them to be the same thickness, but then part of me feels like maybe that's a bit too short. Yeah, maybe they need to be taller like that, but also a little bit wider. Maybe just the whole plane needs to be bigger. Maybe more like that? I mean, I think that looks better than that, but it still doesn't look quite right. But I wonder, does it look weird because it needs to be connected across the top there? All right, okay, yeah, that is definitely working a lot better for me. But I need to thicken up these front bits here. I need to thicken up these bits here as well, so let's do that. Then we'll figure out the back, maybe something like... Nope, not like that, and not like that either. That looks horrific. How about maybe a step, and then some of these little sideway bits, like that. Okay, well, it's not awful. It's not great, but it's not awful. How am I going to do the propeller? I have no idea, because that looks weird. We'll come back to that. Let's carry on getting the plane looking nice. So we'll use some of those funky framed blocks there. Get a few more angles in here and there. So I've just changed the shape on the front here a little bit. And I think what I want to do is maybe get some glass in. Brilliant. Then I'm going to need a seat. I think I'm going to swap out these slabs and use stairs instead. In fact, I'm just going to use the flat panels here. And we're missing a copycat panel there. Let's stick that bit in like that. All right, I think we're getting there slowly. And I think I want to swap out these bits here as well. Maybe use some of these angled ones. All right, I feel like we're definitely getting there. Definitely looks a bit like a plane, but it does need a bit of definition. So maybe if we put a couple of these sort of square panels in. Yep, I like that. Something I don't like, though, is this big wheel at the back. And I've just had a silly idea that may or may not work. And that silly idea starts with a framed half pillar. Can I get that in the middle? Aha. Can. And now the plane's floating. But I think I have a potential sneaky solution for that. I really hope this is going to work. So we're going to put some glass in like this. We're going to get ourselves a mechanical bearing. Stick that on the end there. Need a valve. Stick that there. And then let's just quickly glue all of this together. Make sure this is set to only place when anchor is destroyed. We'll reduce this right the way down. Can we angle the... Nope. We haven't stuck the front yet. So let's stick the front to the back. Right, let's try that again. A little bit more, a little bit less. Well, it is ever so slightly off the ground, but to be honest with you, I think at a casual glance that actually works quite well, just having it on a slight angle. But before we do that, let's actually get the build finished. And we'll move this to somewhere a bit more appropriate as well. So, propeller, what are we going to do about you? What's this? A framed lattice. Maybe this will work. What does it look like? Oh, just like a... Right. Okay, this could potentially work. What happens if I just go out sideways with it? I mean, that's not bad. Let's maybe turn it into that, though. Feels a little bit thin, but I like the idea. Oh, hello. There's a thick lattice. Maybe that'll be better. Can we attach a thick one to a thin one? Nope, but that definitely works a lot better. Look at that. Wonderful. So let's just work out a few more of the finer details, because I'm not really sold on the wings yet. And I'll bring you back in when, hopefully, this is looking a little bit more polished. That wasn't a bad start, and hopefully now you know the pain I go through when trying to figure these things out. All right, I think I'm done messing around with that. I've ended up using some framed posts and framed bars just so I can change the color of those. I think that works a lot better where they're not connected. I've also swapped out a few blocks around the sides and on the wings just to break it up a little bit, but I think I'm good just to turn this into a plane and leave it in here hidden forever, which I guess is its ultimate fate. So for rotating this thing, the best thing for me to do, I think, is potentially just to dig down underground here, stick a couple of bits of glass to the bottom of this, put the mechanical bearing there, the valve set to don't place, turn that to about 5 degrees, glue the glass on. Now hopefully when we turn that, oh, we haven't stuck the back on again. Let's just quickly get all of this reattached. And then let's try that again. Well, that's looking a bit better, apart from the fact that we've still got something that's not stuck. So let's try that one more time. Hopefully one more. It might be me being optimistic. Let's maybe do 6 degrees. All right, look at that. Perfect. And we should just be able to cover this up, and you never know. Look at that. Wonderful. But that's one very small plane for a very large hangar. So yeah, we might have to make something else to go in here as well. But I'm pretty pleased with that. Good start. Am I ready to tackle the big plane? Or do we get the inside of the hangar finished first? I'm gonna go make a cup of tea and think about this. It's called procrastinating. I'm procrastinating again because I really am scared of doing this big plane. Well, I've been procrastinating long and hard, and I don't think I can do it anymore. It's actually the next day now. But overnight, I have been thinking about what we're gonna do, how we're gonna do this, and more importantly, how this plane is actually going to get to the other side and land. Because there is no airport over there at all. And due to the lack of frames over over there, I don't really want to be building over there anymore, if I'm perfectly honest. So instead of building a plane that's sort of lightly modelled on the C-47 like I was originally going to do, it's basically a sort of war-era plane, I believe, a World War II-era plane that was sort of then repurposed and used a lot for transport and goods and things like that, but it can land on a dirt runway. So that's what I was going to build, but as I say, there's nowhere for it to actually go at the other end. But the last episode has also now gone out, and I've seen lots of people saying I should build a seaplane, but that comes with a few problems as well. If I was to build a full-on seaplane, then, well, it wouldn't be able to use this airport because it would have floaters instead of wheels. So we can't do that, but it would be able to land at the other end because we've got a great big dock. We can easily add something for a seaplane to land at. So that solves the problem at the other end, but then creates a problem at this end. So what we're actually going to do is we're going to build an amphibian plane. And basically that means it has wheels on the bottom so it can land on here. And we've got certain ones that can also land on fields and dirt and things like that. But under the wings, it has these big sort of floater type things, probably floats. And they enable it to be able to land on the sea. And that way we get the best of both worlds because it means we can have a plane that lands over here on the dirt and then lands at the dock at the other side. The question is, how am I going to build this? Probably similar to how we did the last one, placing blocks and hoping for the best. So we'll once again start just by getting a couple of wheels in the front. Although it does occur to me, because this plane is actually going to be moving and flying, we're not going to be able to put it at an angle like we did with that one. So I guess we're going to need another one of these wheels at the back somewhere, but we'll figure that out shortly. Let's try and work out the front of the plane first, which means we need more slabs again. Now my plan here is just to start placing blocks and see if we can get some kind of a shape going on that we like. Well, I feel like I'm definitely making some progress here. You can see the shape of a plane gradually coming in, and I'm kind of loosely basing this off of the 1950 Grumman Goose. This plane here. I think in order to go further though, I need to start trying to get some colour in this thing. So let's go see what we've got. What is going on over there? Hold it, you are having a moment, buddy. Maybe if I just do a reload. There we go. Look at that. Wonderful. Now, based on that image I've got, we seem to have a mix of lime green, maybe a little bit of green, and white. So I think that's what we're going to stick with. And we'll take some blocks for texturing too. And of course, we're going to need some glass. So take some of that, and we'll take some of that just in case. So I'm going to use lime green on the bottom here, and then we'll spam the rest with white for now. Though, isn't there like a half block here that we can put in so I can do the bottom half green? I think it's this one, if I can get this the right way round. Tell you what, don't think it is that one. Maybe this one? Nope, I cannot find the right block, so we're just gonna go with white, I guess, for this back bit. Or actually, maybe there is something I can do, which is one of those. Okay, that kind of works. Let's get this back bit in, fill in the rest of this. Glass in the windows, get these beams on. I mean, obviously it's gonna need some detail, but that's coming along quite nice. I didn't bring enough white concrete with me though, so let's go grab some more. And it's doing it again. So weird. So I'm just trying to work out the wing now, and it's not going great. But we'll see what happens. So we need some kind of big old engine type thing is going to go in here. And I'm thinking if we use an encased fan and then use these sort of large lattices again like we did last time. Although, got an idea. This might not work, but let's give it a go. Oh, in fact, I know it's not going to work. I was thinking maybe I could put a mechanical bearing and actually put these at a bit of an angle. But yeah, that is definitely not going to work because, well, as soon as I turn this into a train, it'll just leave that bit behind because it'll be a contraption. So yeah, not what we want to be doing. So instead, what we'll do is I'm going to use some wall panels on that bit there, copycat panels on this bit, which should make the engine look a little bit fatter at the front. And then we'll try the blades maybe in iron, although now they just look white, to be honest. Maybe a different type of iron will work. Probably get rid of these holes in the wings. So if that's what we're going to do for an engine, I need to work out the floats next. What are we going to do for that? Well, progress is being made. It looks a little bit chunky though, doesn't it? How to fix this? Planes are really hard. I mean, it looks okay from this angle, but side on, not so much. I think it's this bit here, and maybe it needs to be a bit longer. Let's tear down the back and redo this. I'll see you in a minute. All right, I think we're making progress. I'm definitely happier with it now. I've changed the wings up a little bit, and I've sorted out the back here, and I think the length of it definitely works a bit better. But, well, you know, this is Minecraft. I've done what I can. Sadly, I couldn't really make a decent way in, so currently it's just a hole in the roof. I say a hole, it's actually a trapdoor. But I think what I'm going to do is just move this to the other side. So if I put that in there, then I can actually get in the back of the plane a little bit better. And on the inside here, we've got plenty of space to get some storage in, and of course we need the storage interfaces as well, but there should be plenty of room, I guess. Well, it's going to have to be, because we also need to get the train controls in as well. Although, thinking about it, yeah, look at that. We've actually got a little bit more space down here as well, which would be good for hiding more storage. Let's just jam a load of barrels in now. Storage interface, which we now know is in line with the window. That's good. Got 7 storage barrels in the floor. That should just about do it. Let's just add some more seating. There we go. There's a couple of seats for passengers, one for the pilot. We just need to grab ourselves some train controls. And then with maybe a few finer details, the plane should be done. So I've battered it up a little bit. I've added some texture. I've made the nose a bit longer because it was looking a little bit stubby. And overall, I'm okay with that. Planes are really difficult, but I think that's going to work nicely as our little amphibian floater type plane that's going to be able to drop goods off over at Viridium Shores. But now I need to turn it into an actual train. This is going to be interesting. I guess I'm going to need to make some space there. Just get a few pieces of phantom rail in. That should be enough to turn it into a train. So if we do that, create new train. And we want the bogey to be an invisible bogey. There we go. What's that destroyed on the inside? Just one of my barrels, I think. Although actually, I think that may have just removed the storage interface. Yep, it certainly has. So let's just stick a new one in there. And let's get all of this glued together, and then hopefully we can take it for a little bit of a test roll, I guess. I don't actually have enough phantom rail to do a proper flight path yet, but we can at least make sure we've stuck the whole thing together. Right, I may have everything. Let's check it out. But assembled correctly, so that's a good start. But if we want to go anywhere, I should at least put down a little bit more rail. So let's just have a bit that goes out onto the main runway, I guess. Then let's give it a drive. Oh, I've left some of the wing behind, that's for certain, and some bits off the... Oh, geez, yeah, okay. Oh, we've had worse attempts. We only left a few bits behind there. Let's try that again. All right, well, we've definitely got all of it that time. This is good. And we can just imagine this taking off. Oh, it's going to be wonderful. But for now, I think we'll just leave that parked outside the hangar because we've still got a lot of work to do around here. We need to actually get this thing loading up. I don't really like the fact there's a gap underneath there now, but we can't really do much about that. But we do need to get this thing loading up with all of the resources from over in our main farmhouse, which is, of course, all the way over there, somewhere, over there, yeah. That's where we need to get them from. It's like the leather, the wool, and basically anything else we're not going to be eating. And we've still got a whole lot of decorating to do around this airfield to make it look good. Although we're not having a proper air tower, we do still need a radio tower, so we'll probably put that over here somewhere, I guess. And of course, we need to build somewhere for it to be delivered to over at Viridium Shores. So I've just spent a bit of time putting down a fence around the edge of the airfield here, which I think works quite well, but yeah, it could do with a bit more variation, I think. And that road there might be a little bit thin, but we'll work that out later. And yeah, I think I want to sort out the interior of this hangar here now, which basically means I need to build lots and lots of things, maybe add another small plane or two. But for that, I'm going to need lots and lots of resources. So let's head off and see what we can find. Wait a minute, that's not Stam.
What?
Bruno!
Mr. Beardstone, what are you doing in my world tour?
Yeah, funny. This is my world. I'm not even surprised anymore. People just randomly turn up. Did you arrive on a bridge, or how did you get here, dare I ask?
I just started a single-player world, man, and here I am, all the way over there.
You thought it was a single-player world? When you clicked multiplayer? Yep.
In your crazy... in your crazy pack, I thought this was, I don't know, some strange generation stuff. It looks quite cool.
No, this is my main storage area, Bruno. Yeah, it's the start of the degradation of your frames, actually, is probably what this area is. Is this a flying visit, or are you planning on staying?
I was thinking about building a couple of things over there in my area. I already... No, I'm gonna stay for a while.
All right, cool. Well, in that case, welcome to the storage room. Help yourself to anything you may see.
Anything I may see.
Anything you see here is anything the light touches, Bruno. There is another guy around here somewhere. He helped himself to storage. He claims he didn't, but he definitely did.
Look, I did not help
What?
myself.
Oh, jeez.
Where are you guys
Did
doing
that door
here?
even open? You just appeared. That was terrifying.
Hello.
This is Bruno, Stam, Bruno.
Hello, pleased to meet you.
Hello.
Look,
Nice
I
to
got a
meet you.
sombrero.
Oh,
What?
oh,
That is incredible.
I found it.
I must get on. I've got to grab some stuff and finish building an airport. So
I also gotta do that. by
Okay,
car.
yeah, I have to go. I have to walk all the way back to my house.
right. Okay, I see what you're doing.
guess-
Come here, Bruno. Come here. I see what you're
Okay,
getting at.
yeah.
There we go. Take that.
What? What?
That, my friend, is a jetpack. Literally giving you the shirt off my
Oh.
back. There's some fuel as well. If that fuel is in your inventory, it will automatically refill the jetpack for you.
Oh, really nice.
And now you
And
can
how
just
do
fly.
I use this?
Press
how?
space to fly, Bruno. Just press space. Space is how you fly.
Like, oh, and how do I stop with Beardstone?
Well, it's quite straightforward, Bruno. You stop pressing space. Bruno, let go of space. Well, it is lovely to have Bruno here, even if I do now need to make myself a brand new jetpack. I'm just too nice sometimes. But it looks like Bruno's going to be here for a few weeks doing his own little mini-series as well, and I will link his episode 1 in the description, so do go check that out and show him some love and support. But anyway, I need a jetpack, and I've got a lot of work to do on that airfield, so I'll bring you back in once things are looking just a little bit nicer. A couple of hours later, and I think everything's looking a whole lot better. As you can see, I've planted a forest around the back here, just because we don't really need that space, and it does kind of finish off the area nicely. I really like the addition of the radio tower and the windsock. I think they work well. And I've added a couple of fuel tanks off to the side as well. Something else I've done is actually laid a little bit of phantom rail. So if we jump in our plane, shut the ceiling, and take ourselves for a small test flight, you can see where it goes off. It's going to line itself up on the runway here. And then, well, the idea is it's going to shoot down here and it will have coal in the barrels, and eventually it'll start taking off, just like that. Oh, that's wonderful. This makes me incredibly happy. However, what doesn't make me happy is the fact that I've completely run out of phantom rails. So this is as far as the plane can go for now, but at least it's in the air, I guess. But if we quickly turn it around, we could see what it looks like on landing as well. I don't really like the fact we can see bits under the bottom and it's got these gaps, but because it's a train, there's not really much we can do about that. But let's not dwell on it. It's one of many flaws with this airplane. But the idea is that once it's dropped off its stuff, it'll then be able to come into land, and hopefully this is going to look okay as well. I've tried to make it fairly gentle, and I think it does the trick. Look at that. Wonderful. And then it'll pull in here, it'll pick up its cargo and move on. But that leads me on to my next problem, and that is getting the goods from over there over to here and probably stored somewhere in one of these hangars so that it can then be loaded onto there. But I've just looked at how long this episode is, and it's very long compared to normal. So sorting all that out and sorting out the interior of these airfields is just going to have to wait for next episode. In the meantime, I need lots of phantom rail, which I guess means it's time to bust out the phantom farm and just stand in this box killing phantoms for a while. So that's all for today. I hope you've enjoyed it, and I'll see you on the next one. Bye-bye now.